Welcome to OpenLegacy. In this video, we will show you how to use the OpenLegacy Hub Studio to easily assign different OpenAPI parameter values for a method input parameter. We'll begin by creating a method. First, note that we have already created a project called Account CICS Microservice. This project is associated with an underlying module, Account CICS. The module represents a bank account system associated with a mainframe CICS resource. The module contains assets which are representations of CRUD operations to manipulate bank accounts in the mainframe. For example, we have one asset that obtains a list of accounts, another asset that retrieves an account by specified account ID, and others. Each asset is a representation of a COBOL program that runs on the mainframe. Now we will create a method. We name the method getAccount. The hub creates a basic flow for the method with input, output, and mappers. We add an invocation to an asset. Now we pick the asset to invoke. In this case, it is the getAccount asset. We edit the input mapper. We map the field ActoAccountID to the input of the API. We set a static value for the field called filler. In this case, it is an empty string. Now we will edit the output mapper. We select a node named Account Details from the asset's output hierarchy as the output of the API. Please notice that this node contains several fields that describe the account to be retrieved by the method. We rename the input field to Account ID, which is more user-friendly than the original name of the field in the asset. Now we see that the contract contains the method we generated. The HTTP method of this method is post, which is the default value, and its path contains the method name. Because the method is new, it has not yet been published. In other words, it is still a draft and not ready to be deployed. We now publish the method, and we can deploy the project to a pre-configured container-based environment in a private cloud. We navigate to the project Swagger page to test the deployed API. We see that the getAccount method is a post method. We also see that it has an input parameter called Account ID. The Account ID parameter is indicated as an OpenAPI body parameter, as this was the default option when the method was generated. We need a valid account ID to test the method. For the purposes of this demonstration, we will take one from the response of a recorded test of an asset that lists accounts. We execute the test with a valid account ID and retrieve the account details for the specified account. Now we want to modify the method slightly to send the input parameter as a query instead of body. So we edit the account ID parameter and set it as a query parameter and save the change. We deploy the project again. We access the Swagger page and see that the parameter is now query instead of body. We test the method using the same value for account ID as before, and we obtain the same result. Now we want to apply another similar variation to the method and set the parameter as path. For this, we go to the method definition and select Configure API. Here we set the parameter account ID as part of the method path. Notice how we use the curly brackets. Now we edit the account ID again and set the parameter as path, and then save the change. We deploy the project again and go to its Swagger page. We verify that the account ID is part of the method path. We provide the same account ID for input, run the test, and get the same result. Lastly, we want to demonstrate how we can use GET as the HTTP method instead of POST. We do this by editing the method and setting its OpenAPI type to GET. We deploy and return to the Swagger page. We verify that the HTTP method is GET and then test with the same input value. We obtain the same result. Thanks for watching this video, and please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions.